Hello, welcome into the official. Tonight, we are going to finally filter down all these players in the 2023 class that we've been talking about. We've been talking about sleepers. We've been talking about guys we like, commitments, all this stuff for the last few months. And tonight, we're going to filter it all down into who would we actually take to put on our C2C rosters. So we're going to do a mock draft, 2023 freshmen, myself, Matt, and David. And we are going to talk through why we picked certain players and what we expect both on the college side and in their NFL future. So no more ambiguous talk about who we like and all these things. We're going to put the money where our mouth is and actually select these players for a mock roster. So thanks for staying with us. As always, this is The Official. Welcome in, everybody. Good to see you here. We got a full house. Matt, David, you guys ready to do some drafting?
Heck yeah.
You know it.
I mean, this is what we put all of our work into, is for this very thing. Who are we actually going to select when the lights come on? We have to make a decision. Before we get started, like and subscribe to this video if you enjoy what we do here at The Official, talking about recruiting and fantasy and analytics and all those things and how they all roll together. And check out our home website, campus2canton.com, where we have multiple tiered subscription opportunities, starting with the lowest at $2.99 per month. Articles, tools, guides, and all the things that you need to get through the college football season, whether you're just a fan who enjoys college football or you're deep into C2C and college fantasy football leagues. We have something for you. So go check us out. Now, let's just get into this. The 2023 class. We have been talking about them for a long time now. When we flipped the page back in February after signing day, we've only really focused on 2023. We're going to do some mock drafting. So the idea here is, like all C2C leagues, pretty much your team you're drafting for is going to need to start 2 quarterbacks every single week. You also are going to need to start at least 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and then a bunch of flex spots. But generally, these leagues show up like that. And you also have an eye on the NFL, right? So most NFL leagues in this format have super flex. So that's why, quarterbacks are going to be pretty valuable, especially if they make it to the NFL and can contribute on your NFL roster. I think PPR should be assumed. And then also Malik Benson, who is a junior college player coming into the class of 2023. He was committed to Alabama. We have chosen to include him. This is kind of an unusual situation. You don't usually get JUCOs going to the Alabamas, the Ohio States, and the Georgias of the world. But Benson's kind of a special case. So we've talked about him before, and we are including him in the pool to be drafted, even though he's not a freshman. Otherwise, 2023 freshman. I've got a random number generator here, boys. I will be number 1. Matt will be number 2. David will be number 3. And I'm going to do this and see what number we get for the first pick. Number 3. David, you'll have the first pick. Second pick is number 2. So Matt's going to have 2. I'm going to have the third pick, and we'll rotate after that. Without further ado, David, your first pick, the 2023 freshman draft is...
I honestly was hoping I wouldn't get the number 1 pick because I think I have a feeling who everyone wants here. Are we bringing in strategy involved? Because I kind of know who you guys like.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. If you know your league, that's going to be part of your strategy as well. So
I feel like the quarterback I want is probably going to slide a little bit. I struggle with this running back class quite a bit. I have 1 running back in my tier 1. And after that, there's kind of question marks for me. So I'm going to go with the running back from Texas, Cedric Baxter. He's 215 pounds. He can hit 21.5 miles per hour. He's got good vision, and Texas does really well with running backs in general. So I'm gonna go with the one running back I feel great about.
I like it. Nothing wrong there. Matt, are you seething mad right now? I know you love Baxter.
No, it's fine. I get the first quarterback I want. So,
all right. So he's going quarterback. Who's it going to be?
Yeah, I'll go Malachi Nelson, quarterback to USC. It's just such an easy pick for me because of the combination of him as a talent going to USC, going to be the heir to Caleb Williams there. It's just hard to see him not excelling in that system and then going on to be, a pretty high-end NFL draft pick. I would assume a first-rounder. He's pretty much our consensus quarterback 1 year, except for David still. He's still holding out tight on Dante Moore. But, I feel like it's a pretty straightforward pick.
Yeah, I mean, I love that pick. Lincoln Riley is he's a Heisman wizard. He's a first 101 wizard. I mean, how many guys have come through and been, either he had back-to-back 101s, I think, Baker and Kyler, and then, Jalen Hurts was a second-round pick who's now playing incredible. Rattler's the dud, but now Caleb Williams is looking like he's going to be a first-round pick and be awesome, maybe a Heisman contender. So just selecting a Lincoln Riley QB is really not a bad idea. And it's not just a college system, right? These guys are successful in the pros too.
Yeah.
At least Murray and Hurts for sure. All right. To me, oh gosh, yeah, this is a good one. And Nelson is my QB1 as well. So that means this is difficult because I guess let's not do snake because it's too quick back and forth. So we're not gonna do snakes. I got to think 2 picks ahead. Who am I gonna get after that? Shoot. I'm gonna go with my favorite receiver by far, Zachariah Branch. I just think he's, I honestly he could probably play in the NFL tomorrow. He's not going to command a wide receiver 1 targets probably right away, but you just watch him and he's ready. I mean, there's really no concerns with Zachariah Branch unless there's something off the field that we don't know about. Otherwise, I think Matt made the comparison a while ago. Kind of looks like a Waddle or Hill, in that mold, that kind of quickness, that kind of acceleration, deceleration. That's what you want. And so I'll take your future teammate, Zachariah Branch, wide receiver, headed to USC. Matt's the teammate of Matt's pick, Malachi Nelson. So give me Zachariah Branch, and we'll go over to David for his second pick. 4th guy off the board will be
4th guy off the board. I'll just scoop my guy, Dante Moore. I had to stick to my guns on this one. I haven't wavered on him. I still think he won't be as productive as Malachi Nelson. Obviously he's going to the Lincoln Riley system, so he probably won't be as productive in college. But I still think all the intangibles with him are just off the charts, and so I like him to do well in college and to transition well to the NFL. There's questions about his mobility and arm strength. I don't know. I saw it in person. He seemed athletic enough and seemed like his arm was strong enough, and he's just ultra efficient. I mean, his completion percentage has been over 70% every year. He plays decent competition in Detroit. It's not amazing, but it's not bad at all. So I just like him, and the fit at Oregon is he might start in year 1. So I don't know what's going on with Bo Nix, if he's gonna return or not, but he could potentially start in year 1. So I like that too.
It's a great question. I mean, everyone has more eligibility than you realize, and I guess Bo Nix is one of those guys. So that actually will be very interesting. I still can't imagine he's NFL bound, even after a decent season. So we shall see. All right. I was definitely between Moore and Branch. I decided to kind of let you have Moore. I knew you wanted him, but yeah, I mean, that was a tough choice either way. All right, Matt, pick number 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Arch Manning, quarterback for Texas. He's just such a safe pick here. He's got the Manning lineage, going to another good offensive system. He's probably got to wait a year, just like Malachi. Ride the bench behind Quinn Ewers, but that's all right. He's still a really high end talent, really high end NFL upside. It's just he's Arch Manning. He's the highest rated recruit, so it's kind of an easy pick here at 5th overall.
No doubt. No doubt. I mean, I was actually hoping maybe, and I'm not the biggest Manning fan, but everything that you said, I agree with. I was hoping he'd slip to me. So now the big QBs are off the board. So you know what? Let's just keep going. My favorite running back is Justice Haynes. There's another receiver I love a lot, but I'm going to go Justice Haynes, headed to Alabama. I think he is a all-purpose running back. He can catch the ball. I think his stats don't necessarily back that up, but I've seen him in camps. And it's hard to say in high school. I mean, he catches some, but not a ton. But it's hard to say high school systems with that. So he doesn't have an elite trait, but he looks really good. I think he's just going to be a quality player at Alabama, and that should get him drafted in the top 2 days of the NFL draft. So that's my pick. Kind of a safe pick there, not necessarily the elite upside pick. David, you're up for number 6.
All right, I'm going to go with a receiver now. I'm going to I don't want Matt to be able to stack Manning with this receiver, so I'm going to go with Jonte Cook, the receiver headed to Texas. Super flexible. He can play in the slot. He can play out. He has the speed to play outside too. He's just an all-around good player. There's really not a whole lot of questions. I kind of question maybe like his play strength a little bit, but from what I've seen so far as a senior, his play strength has been pretty good. And while he's like a little bit smaller, he's like 5'11 and a half, 170. He actually has good length too to like win in contested situations. So he's got like a 6'4" wingspan as well. So I think that he could be a potential first-round NFL draft pick down the road, and he's going to a good offensive system too.
All right, that sounds good. Sorry if you can hear the dog barking in the background, but Matt, take us away.
Yeah, so I'm thinking here I'm going to go with Ruben Owens, running back to Louisville. He's my second highest rated running back in the class. He's pretty lined up there to be a really high-end college producer, who he does have good NFL upside as well. Very good athlete. He's a good receiver. I believe he was a 2K rusher last year. I think, was he a 1K receiver? Do you know, David, off the top of your head?
I don't know off the top of my head, but
he had really good receiving
stats.
He
had insane numbers for sure.
Yeah, super productive player. Probably going to maintain that in college, and good NFL upside on top of it. So I'm pretty comfortable with that pick.
All right, so now that the top 3 quarterbacks, and I think they're in kind of a tier of their own, are gone, I'm gonna fade QB for a while. And my next favorite receiver, and I'm gonna take this guy here because I think that y'all will take him, even though I have a couple guys ranked higher. I probably need to adjust my numbers there because I just feel like this guy's better. And so I think you guys probably have him ranked higher. So I'm going to take Jurian Dickey going to Oregon. He's the first guy off the bus to me. I mean, he's just a monster-looking guy. He's a big, thick, solid wide receiver with tons of yak ability. We talked about him a couple of weeks ago, I think, with the comparison tool. Had some pretty ridiculous high-end comps. And so, I mean, the tape backs it up. The numbers back it up. He's going to a high major P5 school. I don't know. There's nothing not to like. I really like Dickey, and I'm going to take him here. David?
All right. I'll go with a running back. I'll take Richard Young. He's going to Alabama. He made the freak list. He's, I think, 21.3 mile per hour guy, somewhere around there. 200 pounds. I mean, he just runs super aggressive. He's got a pretty good production profile. Would like to see a little more receiving. That's maybe the only knock on him, but headed to Bama, they do really well, developing pretty much anyone. So I think he'll be productive there. And I definitely think that, I mean, day two draft capital seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah. Can't argue Bama backfield guys. I mean, Brian Robinson had one good year as like a fifth-year guy and still went in the top 3 rounds. And apparently he's going to start when he comes back from his recovery here. Matt, you're up.
All right. I have one tier 1 player left, and that would be Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver, USC. He's joining his future teammate Malachi Nelson on the same team here, which is nice. He was probably going to be mostly a slot guy at the next level, but he can play outside a bit too. He's a really consistent guy. He can get open really easily. Good agile mover. He can go up and get the ball. He can get open. He can get plenty of yards after the catch too. So he's a pretty complete package guy. And I really like him.
All right. Great pick there. No questions asked. So I'm going to throw a curveball here at pick 12. This is technically the last pick in the first round. I'm going to go Deuce Robinson, tight end. And, this is not fair to compare, but I think he's the closest thing to Kyle Pitts. I mean, in this class, I know David saw him live and in person at the Elite 11 finals and had some good things to say. Just an absolute beast in terms of physical stature, athleticism. I don't think he's committed anywhere yet. He's a tight end, if I didn't mention that, and you're listening for the first time here. The tight end, he's in that just freaky athletic, 6'6", 240-ish, Kyle Pitts body at least. Unclear if the production will end up matching, but he's the closest thing to it. And he's not committed yet, but he might go to USC too. So we're just investing heavily in the Lincoln Riley offense here and the Alabama backfield. So, that sometimes this game is not that complicated. College football has become very top heavy. And so you can kind of mine these depth charts and get some good players. So Deuce Robinson for me at pick 12. We enter the second round here with the first pick in the second round. David, where are you going to go?
I'm going to grab a receiver. I will take... I want an Ohio State receiver. It's just a matter of which one. They're all pretty good. I think I'm going to go with the guy that I feel the best about his floor right now, and it's going to be Brandon Innis. Just a super solid player, all-around player. Maybe he doesn't have like some amazing standout trait, but I think he's a smart player, and that he'll do well in that system. Like most of these Ohio State guys. He seems like a productive college player with a day 2 draft capital. I don't know if he has the upside for a round 1 player, but I at least feel good about his floor.
All right. Yeah, that seems to be the general consensus on Lemon. Kind of what you said there. Kind of like the Justice Haynes of wide receivers, maybe. All right. So, Matt, you're up next. Second pick. Let me, I should have done this before we started the second round. Let me just recap for everyone. Take a little pause here. And so the first pick off the board was Cedric Baxter, a running back headed to Texas. Second pick was Malachi Nelson, QB, headed to USC. Third pick was Zachariah Branch, wide receiver, headed to Southern Cal as well. Back-to-back teammates there. Then we had Dante Moore headed to Oregon. He's a quarterback that went to David with the second pick of the first round. Then Matt went with Arch Manning, QB, headed to Texas. That's a name that everybody should know. And then I went with Justice Haynes, running back, headed to Alabama. David then took Jonte Cook, Manning's future future receiver. Wide receiver headed to Texas. Ruben Owens went next. Running back headed to Louisville for Matt, and he should give him outstanding college production, if nothing else. But of course, I'm sure there's an NFL future as well. I went Jurian Dickey, wide receiver headed to Oregon. Richard Young then went, who is a running back headed to Alabama. So 2 running backs to the same backfield went in the first round here. And then Mekhi Lemon went to Matt here, a wide receiver, another one headed to USC. So 3 Trojans and 2 Alabama players and, 3 Texas players went in this first round. Pretty impressive stuff there. And then Deuce Robinson was the tight end I took, who's probably going to USC, even though we don't know it yet. So very concentrated schools taken here in the first round. And then David did just start off with Brandon Innis going in the second round here. Wide receiver headed to Ohio State, which brings us to Matt.
Yeah, I'm going to be going with Jalen Hale here, wide receiver, Alabama. He really fits that long outside. Well, he's not that long. He's 6'1", 6'2", but he plays really long. He's an outside receiver. He can go up and get it. He's a really physical guy. I think he's really good after the catch. Some people on this panel might disagree with that. One person to my left. Yeah, I think he just has a really good game. He can probably, get a bit more refined, but I don't think he's awful at that at this point. You can see he has a few double move plays on his highlight tape, which is nice to see. And really that Alabama wide receiver room is, it's not as good as the rooms in the past at the very least. So there's an open spot there, and he has the talent to take it.
That's a great point about Alabama wide receiver room. It's easy to just think that everything Alabama touches turns to gold, but honestly, it's been lacking. They had even Alabama can get lucky. I mean, I think when you talk about like 4 or 5 first round wide receivers over the course of 2 recruiting classes, even Alabama can't keep that up. That's just unsustainable. So, yeah, good point there. And I'm going to then take a guy who recently decommitted. I'm going to go Deandre Moore, one of my favorite receivers. I know that it maybe is a little bit lower. A lot of people might have him a little bit lower, but I think we're a little bit into the get your guy territory at this point. And I have him rated very highly in the wide receiver. I think he's got tons of yak. I think he does everything really well. And he was committed to Louisville, but I think he just decommitted and has not, given his new commitment yet. So we're unsure where he's going to wind up. But I'm going to take Deandre Moore, wide receiver here with this pick. David, you're up.
I'm going to go with a wide receiver headed to Alabama as well. I'm going to go with Malik Benson here. I like his tape a lot. It's kind of hard to gauge against JUCO competition sometimes, but if we're just looking at how he moves and stuff, like he moves like an Alabama receiver, he's super smooth. He glides. He's got top end speed. Matt got him near 22 miles per hour. He's got that size profile, like 6 foot, 185. He can play all around the formation. I think he might hit the ground running. Honestly, I think he might be the top option when he arrives at Alabama next year. So I see a little bit of Jamison Williams in there, a little bit of Devonta Smith, that type of guy. We'll hopefully he produces year 1 there, or I guess his 3rd year.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point too. He's in this class, we're talking for our purposes, but he will be old, or he'll be older than an 18-year-old true freshman. So I think expecting him to hit the ground running, I mean, that he really should. He'll be probably pushing 20 years old, or 19 and a half or something by then, at least. So he should really hit the ground running, and he's awesome. I think he's really awesome. I know I said it in the beginning, we're going to include him in the pool, and then he did slip my mind. So good snag there. Matt, you're up.
Yeah, I'm going to take Jackson Arnold, quarterback, Oklahoma here. I know Alfred was thinking he could sneak a quarterback by here, but I was going to let it happen. So now I have 3 of the top 4 quarterbacks in the class.
Not good for us.
Arnold, I'm starting to fall on him a little bit, but he's still a really good talent, really mobile guy. All right arm. I've kind of fallen off on that part too a little bit recently, but he's accurate. He showed out at the Elite 11, and he has good NFL upside. So, especially in late second round tier, I'll take that.
He was circled. I mean, I was like, oh, I'm going to get Jackson Arnold. I'm fine with that. Well, you thwarted me. Shoot. I'm a little shaken here. Hold on a second. By my numbers, and I think this guy's maybe rated a little bit lower than some other people would have him, but by my numbers, Omarion Peterson is one of my favorite guys. I'm going to take him here. He's a big, fast-looking running back. I think he's got some lateral agility and some twitch to him. And, he's very interesting to me. I'm going to actually look real quick. I think it's not Oklahoma, is it? I should know.
USC.
USC. Oh, we're just sticking with USC. But, yeah, so he's pushing 200 pounds, over 200 pounds. He just looks blazing fast. And again, at least on the college side, investing in that offense is like going to do good things for you. So I have no problem just taking him here, even though he's 24/7 composite running back 21. But I have him pretty high, so I'm going to take him.
All right, I'm going to go with a running back headed to UCLA, Roderick Robinson. He's one of the, I really like the guy I grabbed first. I definitely like Baxter. I got Richard Young, and then I'm going to add. These are like my top three probably at this point. And Robinson just keeps rising for me because he's been insanely productive against pretty good competition in California. He's averaging like 14 yards per carry as a senior. He's pretty explosive for a guy who's he's 235 around there, and we have him hitting like 20.5 miles per hour, which is pretty good. He can break tackles, and I saw him live at the Elite 11, and he actually is a really good hands catcher too, which surprised me. And the fit at UCLA is pretty good too. You could see him producing just like a Zach Charbonnet type player. So I like Roderick.
Yeah, I think that's a great call. I mean, I think he is. I mean, Charbonnet's shown a little pass catching at 220 pounds. So, I mean, if anything's like a bigger Charbonnet, I think that's actually pretty spot on.
All right. I think I'm going to go with Dontavious Braswell here, running back, South Carolina. My RB3. I knew neither of you were going to take him, so I have plenty of time there. South Carolina's been a little bit cursed at running back the last few years. They haven't really been able to get it together that well, He could definitely come in and get a spot. I just think he's a really, really talented mover. He has a 10-7, 100 meter. He moves really good laterally, really explosive playmaker. He can catch. He just put up, I think, what was a 5-touchdown game, over 200 yards this season or in the game. I just think he's really good. He has a chance to really blow up. He has really high NFL upside.
Yeah, we're shooting from the hip here, shooting deep. Just taking the guys we like. I think that's perfectly fine. But yeah, like you said, he's your running back 3, even though he is buried a little bit on the 24/7, and just like Peterson for me. All right, I got to take a quarterback here. I'm going to go friend of the show. I had to take him, Avery Johnson. Give me the Superman from Mays, Kansas. If you haven't looked at his basketball highlights, do that yet. He's an incredible athlete. He's shown a lot of really good quarterback skills as well. He's not simply an athlete running around out there, but he can run around. He's just very, very high upside. We'll see what happens, but we're looking at Adrian Martinez right now in that Kansas State offense, so he is headed to Kansas State, and Adrian Martinez cannot throw, and he's still running for like 200 yards a game, 4 touchdowns. Johnson can do that, plus I'm confident he can absolutely throw the ball about 5 times better than Adrian Martinez. And so I think there's, we don't traditionally think of Kansas State as quarterback powerhouse, but I think this could break the mold here. We could have a special guy, Avery Johnson. So I think he is my like quarterback 4 or 5, so it's not that far off, but I'm just going to take him anyway. I want him on my team. All right, David.
I'm going to go with a bit of a wild card here because I feel like I need another quarterback. So I feel like we're at a stage where the NFL upside is questionable at this point, but so I am going to go with Nico Iamaleava because I love the spot. I love the landing spot at Tennessee, like that system in general. It's a one read super spread system. They get a lot of super athletic receivers that they're going to win on the outside one-on-one. All I have to do is loft it up there, throw it like 60 yards downfield, and all of a sudden, you got a huge stat pattern there. So I just like the system. I like his tools. I don't think we like him as much as the services do at Campus of Canton, but I do like him to produce on the college level.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. He should be just chucking it deep to those guys. That is an incredibly fertile fantasy offense for sure. Matt, you're up.
All right. I think I'm going to go with Cam Selden, running back / wide receiver, Tennessee here. He is the most freakish athlete in this class, 6'2", 220, can run over 22 miles per hour, really good track times to back it up. It's just a super explosive player, a really raw player, though, and we don't know really where or what role he's going to have at Tennessee yet. But just the upside, the athletic upside is too enticing not to take him, especially, late back end of the second here. So I think that's a pretty value.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so I got my QB. This will be the last pick that we'll do tonight. I got my QB. I probably should take more. There's just not a lot that I'm too interested in. Probably would wait a little bit later in real life, so I will do that here as well. And I'm going to take a guy here just based on upside. And, I think like David said, at this point, NFL, we can't be super confident. These guys are going to be locks for the NFL, high picks. So I'm just going to take a guy who his tape is awesome. There's a lot of other red flags, but hopefully Brian Hartline can get him in line. That's Noah Rogers going to Ohio State. And, he flashes some of the most impressive stuff, but then there are some issues with, maybe focus, maybe intensity, every single play in and out. But I'm going to defer to Brian Hartline. The guy has just been a wizard taking guys, with the lone exception maybe of Julian Fleming. Everybody else who's gone to Ohio State in the last 2 or 3 years has just been phenomenal. So, yeah, give me Noah Rogers. I like what I see on tape. I'm going to trust that Brian Hartline knows what he's doing here. And we're gonna do that on pure upside here. So that does it. Let's recap the first two rounds of a 2023 draft here. We'll go quickly through the first. Cedric Baxter going to Texas, running back. Malachi Nelson, QB, USC. Zachariah Branch, wide receiver, USC. Dante Moore, QB, Oregon. Arch Manning, QB, Texas. Justice Haynes, running back, Alabama. Jonte Cook, wide receiver, Texas. Ruben Owens, running back, Louisville. Jurian Dickey, wide receiver, Oregon. Richard Young, running back, Alabama. Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver, USC. Deuce Robinson, tight end, maybe USC, but undetermined right now. And then the second round was Brandon Innis, wide receiver, headed to USC. Jalen Hale, wide receiver, headed to Alabama. Deandre Moore, wide receiver, uncommitted right now. Malik Benson, wide receiver, headed to Alabama, and he has a JUCO transfer. Stabbed me in the back. Jackson Arnold went to Matt, QB, headed to Oklahoma. I took Omarion Peterson, running back, headed to USC. Then David went Roderick Robinson, running back, headed to UCLA. Dontavious Braswell went, running back, headed to South Carolina. Avery Johnson, QB, headed to Kansas State. Nico Iamaleava, QB, headed to Tennessee. So first Tennessee. And then Matt, I somehow didn't write down, who was that second to last pick you made? This is great radio.
Braswell, maybe? Did Dontavious?
No, Braswell went before,
took
and then you
Braswell.
took.
Oh man, I don't. It
We'll
wasn't.
have to do some editing.
Selden was my last pick.
It was Selden. That's who it was. Cam Selden.
Oh, you said second to last pick.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is the second to last pick, but it was your last pick.
Oh, yeah, I took Cam.
All right. Okay. Selden headed to Tennessee, so we had back-to-back Tennessee Vols. And then I went with Noah Rogers, wide receiver, headed to Ohio State at the end of the second round there. And that just about does it. I think that was a pretty awesome first and second round. We'll have to see, we'll do this again. And as we continue to go through guys, we'll find other guys who will rise for us, etc. The quarterbacks will be interesting. I feel like there's a chance the second round quarterbacks could look different if we did this 3 months from now. So I think the top half of the quarterbacks are probably fairly set in stone. The top half of the first round is probably not going to move too much. But I think there's definitely some room for change as we go on. So we'll do this again in a few months. We'll do it again after signing day. But I think checking in on the temp check on these guys is a pretty good exercise. So thanks to Matt for bringing that up. And that was fun. Any final parting thoughts? How do you like your teams? Is there anything, I'll put it this way, is there anything anybody wish they would have done? I know there's one thing I wish I would have done differently.
I think everyone's gonna love Matt's team. No.
Yeah, I think I made out like a band.
we let Matt get Art. You got Arch Manning, Malachi Nelson, and Jackson Arnold. So we're gonna get shit on probably. Everyone's gonna love Matt's team. That's okay.
Yeah, we'll have to throw this out on Twitter and stuff to see who likes these teams that were.
You guys thought you had the strategy at first.
No, I mean my thing. I just should have taken Arnold sooner. I thought he'd keep falling, but I should have taken Arnold when I took DeAndre Moore. Like that's my big mistake. I think I would have loved to have an Arnold in there. I still would have taken Avery Johnson, but I would have liked to have both. So yeah, all right. We'll throw it up on Twitter. Like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for joining us for our 2023 freshman mock draft. This has been The Official.